Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I am your guide to wisdom. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 57 of our trek, and as we continue to consume these daily nuggets of wisdom, we need to realize that as a wise person, that everything in life is changing. We need to be able to accept and manage change proactively, not try to stop life from changing, for that is impossible. Instead, let us embrace and then guide the changes in our lives so that it will allow us to leave a living legacy each day. Today we will look at why change is the only real constant in our lives. We are recording our podcast from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. Today, Paula and I drove about an hour north of here to Cambridge, Ohio, to go to church and have dinner with my dad. We try to get up to see him at least every other month. It is a blessing to share a time worshiping with and visiting Dad. He continues to provide good and godly counsel to our lives. We're always grateful that we have this strong heritage in our family, which we can trace back many generations. I realize not everyone has had these blessings. So let's move on up the trail as we venture out today. As we trek through each day, we need to understand that we will never be in the exact same situation with these conditions. We need to make the most of every moment and never lose this opportunity that we have right now. As the Quaker missionary Eton Gerlet put it, I shall pass this way once. Any good that I can do, any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. Certainly some powerful thoughts to ponder as we start today. Change is the only constant in life, a quote that is attributed to the pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Heraclitus of Ephesus around 500 BC. The same philosopher illustrated the point about change being ever present by saying no man steps into the same river twice. An ever-flowing river is there and even has a name, yet the water in it keeps changing so that from one second to the next, it is really a different river. As I reflect on the times that we were able to spend with my dad, I see that throughout my parents' life, although they would have liked things to stay the same, they embraced the changes in life. It just brought to my mind how my mom wanted to drive positive change in the local public education system. So she ran for and was elected to the school board for several terms. Another example was when my mom was in her late 50s. She trained and became an EMT for the local rescue squad after she felt helpless when an elderly friend of hers died when she was with him. Dad was always learning and changing throughout his work away from the farm and to grow better apples, while maintaining their convictions to grow them organically. This was very tough at times, but they embraced this change. I believe observing their lives was an example to welcome and even embrace this change. As I consider why it is relatively easy for me to accept change, I ask myself why people are so afraid, so resistant to the inevitable changes in their lives. We expect night to change today, seasons to change, our children to grow taller and older. We expect to grow older, watch our children marry, possibly retire someday from our jobs, and then play with our grandchildren. We all face changes every day, whether it's the simple change of the weather, our schedule, or we choose what to eat each day. We each deal with change in different ways, and change affects each of us differently as well. For the most part, we're generally left to deal with the daily ebbs and flows of life and be contented with the small changes that we see and make every day. However, sometimes there are changes that jump out of nowhere and totally shakes us to our core. These can be big job changes, marriage, illness, the birth of a child, a recent empty nest, or even something major like a death of a loved one, all of which have a different magnitude on how they impact our lives. No matter the change we experience, how we embrace that change will forever impact how we're able to live with that change. Just as my parents were a catalyst for accepting change in my life, as adults, we need to model ways of handling change that will be absorbed by the children and the youth around us. When we shape or adapt our own problem-solving behaviors and coping strategies, we show others how to be flexible and adaptive in positive approach in getting through these life-changing events. Every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. You might want to consider the following questions to help you discover the skills to help you when you are faced with major changes in life. First, what is your usual emotional reaction to big changes in your life? Does it overwhelm you? Do you tend to withdraw from others and become a social butterfly? Second, what personal values and beliefs will sustain you through this crisis? Does a huge change shake your faith or make it stronger? Third, what coping strategies do you have to help you manage unexpected life changes? Have you considered how you would handle these major changes of life? And fourth, what new skills can help you in the future? Are you willing to learn from these past experiences and the experiences from others? When you are going through change, if you have planned in advance, then you will find different ways to handle and embrace this change. Now, personally, I turn to my faith and find inner strength which the Lord has graced me with. I turn to His Word for comfort and peace and wisdom. But no matter where you turn and how you cope with change, you must find a way to deal with these changes of life. Consider first that not all change is bad. In fact, some change can bring some positive results. You need to look for the positives despite seemingly negative consequences of a particular change. Having a positive outlook will totally change your perspective. Life is what you make it, and change is no different. In fact, the only thing that we can count on in life is that change will be constant. Now, this may be a very disconcerting revelation for people that consider themselves resistant to change. It is not difficult to forget that life will always be changing. We face something new every moment of every day. We need to embrace the changes that life has in store for us. We just always have to keep in mind that life truly is what we make of it. For my own life, and I trust also for yours, the reason that we can remain strong and embrace all change is because we know and understand that He who created the world and knows our future is also the one who doesn't change. So we do not have need to fear it. Our lives may be filled with change, but Jesus' half-brother, James, wrote in James chapter 1, verses 16 through 18, "So don't be misled, my dear brothers and sisters. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God our Father. He created all the lights in heaven. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. He chose to give us birth to us by giving us His true word, and we, out of all creation, became His prized possession." These are truths that we can grasp onto each day. Well, that will finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of our previous podcasts, please check out Wisdom Trek at iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or at wisdom-trek.com. Tomorrow we will consider the topic of It's Only Money, and the important difference between having money and being wealthy. So please join us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. And if you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, these nuggets that we consume, I encourage you to please help us in the following 5 ways. Leave your name and email address at the website in the bottom right-hand corner of any of the pages in the sidebar. This will allow us to update you with special information about Wisdom Trek. Leave us feedback about the podcast on wisdom-trek.com. Please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. And please leave us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher so that we can gain more exposure for Wisdom Trek and have more people join us. And please share with your family and friends to journey with us on Wisdom Trek. Thank you for allowing me to serve you in this way, to come into your homes, and to share these nuggets of wisdom with you. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and to create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.